Hi, my name is Udoka Young, an MPH student, and today I'm presenting on burnout among workers. This is an increasingly important occupational and public health issue. This presentation applies the principles of risk communication to understand how burnout develops, who is affected, and how effective communication can support prevention. Here is the outline. So what is burnout? It is defined by the World Health Organization as an occupational phenomenon that is caused by chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. It is not classified as a medical condition, but it is recognized globally as a major threat to worker well-being. Burnout includes three key dimensions: exhaustion, detachment, and reduced sense of professional accomplishment. Um, it affects a wide range of workers, especially those in high demand fields like healthcare, logistics, warehousing, education, and customer facing roles. Why does burnout matter? It matters because it has real and measurable consequences. On the personal level, it contributes to depression among workers, anxiety, sleep problems, and even increased cardiovascular risk. From a workplace perspective, burnout reduces productivity, increases errors, and raises safety risks, especially in high-pressure environments such as hospitals and warehouse operations. It is a significant driver of absenteeism and turnover, and it also creates staffing shortages that make burnout even worse. Because of its widespread impact, burnout is not just an individual problem, it is a systemic occupational hazard, and it costs employers a lot in turnover and in lost efficiency. This is a diagram showing worker burnout and the effects of worker burnout. Exposure to hazard. Burnout happens when workers are repeatedly exposed to stressors without adequate resources or recovery time. The common sources of exposure include high job demands, time pressure, unrealistic productivity targets, emotional labor, and limited control over one's schedule. In many workplaces, chronic understaffing and long shifts intensify these demands, forcing workers to stretch themselves beyond limits. Burnout builds up gradually, and exposure accumulates over weeks, months, or even years, making early detection challenging but essential. Who are the stakeholders? It affects multiple stakeholders. First, the workers who are the most directly affected. They experience emotional exhaustion and reduced well-being. The families of these workers also feel the impact through strained relationships, irritability, and emotional withdrawal. Employers also face financial and operational consequences, including high turnover and lost productivity. Co-workers experience extra workload and decreased morale when team members struggle. On a broader scale, burnout affects public health agencies also and the society through healthcare costs, reduced service quality, and workforce instability. So there's a difference between how experts view burnout and how the general public, that is the lay people, view burnout. Experts understand burnout as a systemic organizational issue that is shaped by workload, fairness, staffing, and leadership. They view burnout as preventable through structural changes. In contrast, however, the public and even some managers often view burnout as a sign of personal weakness and inability to cope. This misunderstanding contributes to stigma and discourages open discussion or help seeking. It is therefore necessary to bridge these differences for effective prevention. How do we bridge it? Effective risk communication requires addressing these perception gaps. In bridging them, we must use clear, compassionate, and non-judgmental language, emphasize a shared responsibility instead of blaming individuals, and you have to explain how organizational factors like workload, autonomy, and support contribute to burnouts and promote psychological safety so that workers can feel comfortable to speak up. The goal is to normalize burnout as a legitimate occupational hazard that requires a collective attention. What must workers do to prevent burnouts? Prevention requires a coordinated action. Workplaces should encourage rest breaks, promote time off policies, and ensure mental health resources are easily accessible. Supervisors can provide more support, constructive feedback, and recognition. Organizations can improve workload management and staffing, and also scheduling to reduce chronic strain. Training of leaders is also important. You have to train them in supportive communication, especially as it relates to burnout. This message was crafted, this presentation, using the key risk communication principles, which is be first, be right, and also be credible. And it's also an audience-centered communication guided message, which guided the tone of the presentation. Conclusion: burnout is a widespread and preventable occupational hazard that impacts workers, families, organizations, and community. By applying risk communication principles, particularly clarity, credibility, and empathy, and audience-centered language, we can reduce stigma, increase awareness, and support meaningful change in workplace culture. Addressing burnout is not just about helping individuals, it is about creating an environment where workers can thrive. Thank you. And here's the references.